Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, two titans of American music, proved once again that age is just a number as they brought their timeless talent and rebellious spirit to Pine Knob Music Theater. In a night charged with nostalgia, grit, and legendary songcraft, the duo captivated a packed crowd who had come to see these living legends deliver music that spans generations. Willie Nelson, now 91, took the stage with the same casual charm that has defined his decades-long career. Wearing his trademark bandana and braided pigtails, he leaned into every lyric with an easy grace. The crowd roared when the familiar chords of Whiskey River kicked off his set. Backed by the family band, Nelson's voice, raspy, worn, but still full of soul, sounded as if it had been marinated in the stories of 1,000 roads. His set was peppered with classics. On the Road Again had the audience on their feet, singing every word in unison. Always on My Mind brought a hush over the amphitheater, many in the audience swaying gently or wiping tears. Between songs, Nelson offered sly smiles and brief nods to the crowd, letting the music do most of the talking. Even at his age, his guitar picking on his weathered Martin guitar, Trigger, was as expressive and distinctive as ever. Bob Dylan followed with a performance that defied expectations and embraced reinvention. At 83, Dylan continues to resist nostalgia's pull. He didn't perform as a museum piece of himself, but rather as an evolving artist, more interested in interpretation than replication. His gravelly voice, sharpened over the years like a blade, cut through the night as he delivered reworked versions of beloved tracks and newer gems alike. Instead of relying on his biggest hits, Dylan leaned into his more recent material, choosing subtle, jazz-tinged arrangements and moody lighting that gave his set an intimate feel. Songs like I Contain Multitudes and False Prophet demonstrated his undiminished lyrical firepower. But when he did touch on classics, like Tangled Up in Blue or Gotta Serve Somebody, he reshaped them, challenging the audience to meet him in the present rather than clinging to the past. Together, Nelson and Dylan stood as elder statesmen of the outlaw spirit. They each forged careers by doing things their way, rejecting industry norms, challenging conventions, and creating music on their own terms. That legacy was palpable at Pine Knob, not only in their performances but in the crowd itself, a mix of longtime fans and younger attendees who've grown up with their music or discovered it through reverence and curiosity. The evening also showcased the contrast and kinship between the two icons. Nelson's warmth and relaxed delivery contrasted with Dylan's enigmatic, cool, and restless reinvention, yet both carried an unmistakable authenticity. There was no pretense, just two artists sharing what they love, with nothing left to prove. The band dynamics on stage were equally compelling. Nelson's group played with familial tightness, enhancing the country folk feel with steel guitar and harmonica. Dylan's band delivered with precision, supporting his phrasing with subtle jazz and blues textures. No flash, just musicianship that served the songs. Beyond the music, the atmosphere at Pine Knob was one of reverence and joy. Fans brought signs, wore vintage concert shirts, and shouted words of appreciation. One older couple slow danced in the aisle during Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. A group of younger fans could be seen near the front mouthing every word of Dylan's verses, clearly mesmerized. It was a communal celebration of not just two icons, but of what they represent: defiance, creativity, and a life lived with purpose. By the time the final notes rang out into the warm Michigan night, the standing ovation wasn't just for the performances. It was for the decades of artistry and the enduring power of song. Nelson and Dylan walked off the stage without fanfare, their silhouettes retreating like ghosts of a golden era still very much alive. In a world obsessed with the new and now, this night served as a reminder that some voices only grow more potent with time. Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan aren't just aging musicians, they're outlaws of time, turning every stage they grace into a piece of living history.